Hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. And today we have, I guess, one of the most famous people we know here on Instagram is my brother. He's an MMA fighter. He is a philosopher. He is a spiritual intellectual. And he's just an extraordinary human coming all the way to us from the West Coast. We got my brother, Matt Wong. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thank you, brother. That's a great introduction. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank you
I got to
so
make
much.
it good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Things all dear to my heart. I
Oh
appreciate it.
man, how you
Philosophy.
doing, Matt?
Oh, I'm doing great. How you doing out there, brother?
Hey, I am doing well. Hey, I just want to thank you for coming on the show and for getting up so early because we got that time difference, right?
Right. Like I
I
tell
know
you, I'm
most
an early
people
bird.
that I talk to on the West Coast, they're like, yeah, well, I can do your show at night. And
I'm
I get
early.
that. I respect that. You know what I'm saying?
Shoot, if you told me 7, I would have been like, yeah, let's do it. I'm up with the sun. I'm down with the sun. So
God,
it's all good.
listen, I'm so glad you got that willing spirit, man. That is just a testament to who you are in your life.
Thank you.
Matt's not only all those things that I've said, everybody, but he's also a podcaster as well. And what's the name of your show, Matt?
It's the Water Pod. That
The
Wong
Water
talk for
Podcast.
everyone to remember. Where
The
conversation
water.
flows,
See what
illusion
I'm saying?
right.
And we can't live without water, right?
Oh, you know it. You
What is
know
the
it.
body content of water? Were we 70% water?
At least where we're like as above, so below, like the Earth, right? We're like
Okay.
75%, I think, something
Well,
like
you
that.
know, with these little extra pounds I got, I think I'm like 110% water. I need
Uh,
to walk past the pine tree so I can pop a little bit, let some of this out. So, where you coming
uh,
to us from? You're on the West Coast. How
right.
long have you been out west?
Oh, my whole life,
Your
I've,
whole life?
everything's been out here in the Bay Area. Well, I grew up in the Bay Area, San Jose, Silicon Valley,
Okay.
what
Okay.
used to be known as the Valley of the Heart's Delights.
Woo.
Right? It's an amazing.
Okay.
Maybe you've seen my gardening stuff before.
Absolutely. I'm
You know,
glad you mentioned your garden because I was just getting ready to say, dude, you make the best smoothies
right?
and the best food. I'm like, look at him go. I'm just like, every time I look at one of your posts, it's like, okay, I gotta get my stuff together because I don't have a garden.
I'm glad. I'm
But I'm
glad.
headed to Whole Foods. I'm like, okay, what would Matt
Here we
buy?
go. Here we go. Hey, making me smile. All this is great.
Absolutely.
Do this all day.
Absolutely. I see that. How
Right.
important is that to you right now? Like keeping that garden and being self sustainable. Isn't that
Extremely
important right
important.
now?
Oh yeah, especially right now, and especially as we go deeper, into the future here. I don't know if you've ever seen some of these posts I put out about the warning from the United Nations
Oh,
that we only have 45 more years of harvest.
brother. I see all of that and I just begin to sweat because first I
Right.
wonder, will we still have chocolate cake? You know.
Oh.
After I get over that, then I'm like,
Right,
okay, well, what about the vegetables? We need the vegetables. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
But you know what? I have faith in our aliens. I feel
Oh,
like the aliens, they are bringing some sustainable foods that we're going to probably like.
right. Let's hope so. Because it's not coming. It's not coming from General Mills. That's for sure.
No, no, no. We can't trust the general. The general has not been good to us.
No, can't trust that.
But dude, that's scary, right?
Oh
Just
yeah,
to think of what I think back probably when our parents were around, it was more so like, oh yeah, the earth is going to end. And then we get to our age, and I remember being a teenager, like, oh yeah, well, and I participated in cleaning the water and making sure I was recycling, but I just think it's one of those things like you never really realize that it's actually happening,
no, right.
and until it's too late.
Yeah.
Until
You
it's
know
too late.
what I think is interesting too. I mean, you told me you have a son.
Yeah.
I just had my first son, and I asked my parents, like, did you ever think that the world wouldn't be here for us when we got older. And now, like, I think our generation, I mean, it's like a real possibility for our children, you
It's
know,
a
and
real thing. It's
you
a
know,
real thing.
you know,
I don't know about you, but during like the whole pandemic, that's when it started really dawning on me that the world is really real.
right?
And that there are forces fighting against us, whether it's with these atrocious viruses or either the earth itself. It's like, I don't know, Mother Earth, we've done things to be irresponsible, not only in our generation, but previous generations. And it's
Yeah,
just like, and
yep,
the amount of greed
yep,
has caused us to really curse the earth. And now it's like it's vomiting back on us.
yeah. Almost as if it's trying to get rid of the virus, humans, you
Yeah.
know, like
Like
as
we
if,
are the virus.
right? Like,
I think of it like that.
yeah, I think of the same thing. And I also often think about how we have, just like you said, how we have this society based on just profit and growth. And,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that's always growing unnaturally, like growing, tumors, cancers. They just keep growing and
I
growing and
know. I
growing.
know.
And we don't look at any type of humanity. We don't look at any type of shared community. As much as it may be given lip service, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's only done so in the name of trying to make more profits.
Of
You know,
course.
like it's never. There's nothing. There's very little.
They're not trying to find a solution.
No, no, no,
They
no, no.
want to see first, okay, how can we make some money off of this first?
Right.
And then we'll get down to the solution. And I think an interesting point is that I was watching on TikTok, because I love TikTok now. All of a sudden, uh, I ran across a 40-year veteran of nursing, and she'd been a registered nurse for over 40 years, and she
Mm,
was just talking about high blood pressure,
mm,
and that the doctors know that magnesium and other vitamins that are natural, that are essential, that
right.
we're made of, will wipe high blood pressure out.
Oh
But she
yeah.
said it's never, ever, ever, ever recommended to patients.
If I could say too, magnesium is something like most Americans are, and
I
magnesium
know.
does something like 400 different roles in the body.
Dude, I just bought 2 big jars of it from Whole Foods because I'm
Nice.
just like, I didn't realize I needed it. I didn't
Yeah.
know I needed it.
Something about magnesium too. It's at the center of the chlorophyll molecule. So any
Okay.
plants all have magnesium. Greens,
Okay.
talking about the smoothies I make and the gardening. That's why I started gardening, because I
Okay.
learned how important leafy greens were. I
Yeah.
wanted to have salad every week.
Yeah.
So 10, 12 years ago, we started gardening, and that was my whole goal, just to get salad every week, just to have enough
Yeah.
salad greens every week.
Dude,
Organic
that's so
salad,
freaking
organic greens.
important.
Right, right.
Well, you know what? That's inspiring me. It won't be this summer, but next summer I'm going to try to incorporate some gardening. I mean, I
Yeah.
already have survived keeping my house plants alive, which was big for me.
Nice. That's tough.
I used to wipe them out, dude. Like, oh, you need water? Hey, here you go.
Right.
And come back and they're like dead. But yeah, that is so important. And just hitting on that pandemic, dude. That's where we met, right? During the pandemic,
It was.
through a
Yeah.
mutual friend, Mal.
Yep. Philosophical popsicle.
I'm telling you.
Right. That
I'm
was
gonna get
cool.
her on the show. I'm gonna get her on the show. We need to get her on a group show
That would be
because the
cool.
three of us,
Right.
we might be able to save the world.
Um, we're trying to make drops, right?
I
Little drops.
know. I
Drops.
know, dude. And I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier, and I wanted to congratulate you and your lovely wife on the baby.
Uh,
Hey, kids are special,
yeah.
and anytime that you have the opportunity to have one of your own, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
But in listening to one of your podcasts, one thing that stuck out, and I just had to write it down, was that when you were going through the process of bringing your child into this world, you mentioned that everybody had something negative to say.
Right.
And you know what? That is just like so powerful to me, because that isn't that with everything that we try to do when we try to grow, when we
Yeah.
try to add some happiness into
Yes.
our life, people have nothing good to say. Like immediately my first thought, and I'm grateful that I'm this way, was like, wow, like I didn't know that you had recently had a child, and we shared it in private conversations, but I was excited. I was like, whoa, this is good. Look at this. This guy is going to have somebody to follow in his footsteps. And so my mind doesn't go to, oh, you're not going to get no sleep. You ain't going to like your life
Weird.
anymore.
Right. Right.
Because I tell you, when my son was little, every time he threw up on me, I loved it.
Oh,
It's like I
right.
don't know if I was crazy but
No,
I
not
just
at all.
loved it. I loved it because it was telling me that I was doing something, and
Yes.
that it's your creation. So
Yeah.
tell me, how why did they tell you this negative stuff, and how did you say in the famous Matt Wong way, like, yeah, F
So
off.
mindset is extremely important.
Mhm.
And I realized to myself, I'm going to look at these things in a negative fashion or a negative light. It's only going to make the whole experience negative and
Make
somewhat
it
down.
suck. Make
You
it
know what I
suck.
mean? And I
Hmm.
think people colloquially, because we just complain so much, people are all just kind of in this
Yeah.
milieu. Yeah,
Hmm.
like I'm thinking, I'm thinking over and over again. I don't know if it's to the extent how you were talking about freighters. You know what I mean? But like
Hmm.
people just don't understand that sometimes, like we don't always just have to talk shit about it. Like we don't always just have to be down about stuff. I mean, the
No.
way I talk with people, I'm always just trying to build people up. I'm always
Yes.
trying to talk about power. I'm always
Yes.
trying to talk about how it is that our experiences, even the worst of them, we can learn from.
Right.
Like I don't know if you've ever lost anybody in your life,
I have. Yeah.
and for me, losing people in my life and being able to find the positive in that and not allow myself to perseverate or get stuck on the idea of what had happened in our relationship before, or oh
Hmm.
my God, what this means, or
Hmm.
who am I now? Like, rather instead just recognizing that if that were to be me, I would want the people around me to move on, move forward, remember who I was, and
Hmm.
not get stuck on this idea that I'm not there anymore. Because
Exactly.
the world's going to go on no matter who you are. If you die, the world's moving on, and I was listening to, I listened to Sadhguru, and he was talking about earlier, I literally heard him say, uh, may the day you die be a blessing. Like, be the day that, that would be the something along the line. This will be the good. Hopefully this will be the day that it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
And things will finally make sense.
you know, uh, so when people would tell me this kind of stuff, I'm always just trying to redirect it. Yes, and like, I heard that the other day, not to say yes, but you say yes and,
Hmm.
so that way you hear the person, and then like, you kind of redirect it. Like in my mind, here's something. Our generation is having trouble having children.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you know people who have spent tens of thousands of dollars, like
Thousands of dollars on
me,
fertility.
and it's not even, and still it's not even a guarantee.
No.
So here, me and my wife, we're 39 years old. We're having our first son, and I know it's a blessing. Like I know
It
it.
is
I
a
know
blessing.
I know that. Okay, no matter how early I have to wake up, or if he's pooped and he's crying or whatever's happening, just be excited,
Yeah.
just be happy, because I realize also that these first 1,000 days, these first few years, are so important to his development and his later the relationship that we're going to have 5, 6 years. If I can say one thing real quick, one more thing about this,
No, this is your time.
uh, as men, I personally growing up, I never thought of having a baby. I always thought of having a child, having a son, having a kid, having somebody older that I'd play around with.
Right.
So this first 100 days so far, has really changed my mindset around how important the baby is.
Yes.
Not just for me and my wife, but for parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles. I realized he's already twice his size than when he was born.
Yes.
And it's like he just gets bigger, 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 and they're only a baby for so long.
Exactly.
But also all of this unconscious that they're building up, all these connections that their mind is making, so important right now. So
it is. That, and also I say the power of that baby is bringing, no doubt, families together as well.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize too. It's just like I had a friend, he and his sister grew up close, but then they had some type of disagreement in the middle of their life where they stopped talking. And so for whatever reason, he found out that his sister was pregnant. And I'm telling you, it just took a very bitter situation and just healed it without even words. In those moments, when things can heal without words, how powerful is that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just from, and even if you're not a religious person, just even thinking about like the Advent, with a baby. Like, why did God send a baby? Why didn't he just send somebody grown to just come and tell us what to do? You know what I'm saying? But no, it was a baby, because I believe that babies show us that this is the beginning of life. And this is such a powerful entity. And not only is it powerful, but it's learning, and it's forcing you to learn, and it's teaching you how to be. Because I bet you think, like, yeah, I'm a man, I know what to do. But no, that baby's going to teach you, no, you need to hold me this way in order. And you need to move in patience. Because guess what? I'm not going to shut up because you want me to be quiet.
Right. I don't know what you're saying. I'm
right.
I need attention.
And better yet, I know what you're saying, but F off. I'm being a baby right now.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up, because this whole last year, I've been excited for all the things that I'm going to learn as being a father.
Every day.
I kept thinking about how I've only been here for some type of years or before him. I don't know everything about life, and he's going to teach. I often think about the wisdom about be like a child.
Yes.
And so, I'm excited for all the things that are going to be presented in my life, and all the ways that I'm going to learn to become a better person, become more well-rounded.
And it is important for us to be like a child, because you know what? Children don't have all the gunk that we keep. As we progress and we grow older, we learn how to hold on to things. We learn how to hold on to false things that we feel will make us feel better. But a child does not care, about feeling better. In my opinion, they are always looking and trying to understand and trying to learn the whys and the hows about things. And that's just totally inspiring. And I'll say, even like with my son, yeah, I've been here longer than him, but there are times when I'm sitting here and just I can't figure out something on my computer. And I'm telling you, he's 14. He'll come in, he'll just be like, bloop, bloop. see
Right.
ya. And I'm just like, how did you? And then the other day, it was like I got locked out of the Wi-Fi. So I'm going through all my papers, like, well, where did I write down that Wi-Fi password? And he just goes Z97345. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
then we
Right.
were somewhere. I didn't have my debit card. I forgot it. And he was 54336.
Wow.
When
Right.
did you learn that?
Right.
And it's just like it's like you have a little your own personal Buddha.
Wow. Right.
So just imagine though, somewhere, and I say to myself, somewhere at some point, I must have did something right, you know,
Mm.
to be able to have that. And I know that you will share in that as well, you know. So yeah, congratulations. And like,
Thank you so
dude,
much.
I can't wait to see the little Wong there with you because I know he's gonna be
Right.
he's
Right.
gonna be moving forward just like his dad, dude.
Right. Everybody asks all the time, when's he gonna start training? Start doing
I know. I know.
and try to hold my excitement because of course if he wanted to follow my steps I've been I want to give him everything that I've learned but way early, so he didn't have to go through the same path that I went and take as
Yeah.
long to get there, but at the same time I try to realize, whatever he wants to do, I gotta let him do that and find out how to
Please
push him for that.
don't hold him back. But look,
You
I
know,
do
and
want to warn you, my friend, that you got to
please,
get ready for this moment.
yes,
So I was supposedly working out one day. And so so this kid comes in, he's just like, I'm just like, oh, this is heavy. So then he gets in there, he's just like, so he says the word
right,
he says the words, out of the way, old man.
uh, right,
So then, and then another time I had a little back pain, and he was
yeah,
like, "You need to lay down, old man." And I'm just like, "I am not old." As I go and get the hair color, I'm just like, "I'm not." So get ready for that.
uh, I'm ready for it. I look forward to it.
Oh man.
Uh,
So in listening to your podcast, first let me say it's 100% transparent. It's just like, dude, it's like I'm getting on the phone with a good friend. So I
oh,
love that. I
appreciate
love that. It's
it.
just like it's real 100%. Your
Yeah,
humor, I mean, you crack me up. As you know,
yeah,
I'm a big goofball. So I'm just like I'm like,
right,
"Oh, I could totally
right,
goof with this guy, you know?"
right. You feel it.
I could totally goof. But
Yeah,
you refer to your format in your podcast as like your journals.
right.
So I know, like we're saying, in these days, it's not very popular for a lot of people to want to run and get a pen. Like I just bought some really, I don't know, have you heard of the Black Wing pencils?
I don't know. I
Okay,
don't
I'm
think.
gonna send you some. I will send you some, but I'm like one of those person I get obsessed with things that are different. So it's this little square pencil here. I got one here.
Okay.
But what fascinated me about it the most is that all the film people in the early days they did all of their look how cool that is.
Oh, nice.
And they have all these different little themes. They got all kind of crazy shit, but they're super great pencil. Maybe we get them to sponsor our tour.
Hey, there we
Black
go.
Wing. But the purpose of me buying this pencil because they're like $30 a dozen.
Mm,
But I don't know if it's a mind thing, but I've been writing so much more. It's
mm,
just like the people I looked up the different individuals that have used them, like Walt Disney's used this pencil.
mm.
Different people that have been like wonderful, amazing writers have used this pencil. And I know it's just a pencil, you know what I'm saying?
It's
But at the
more.
same time, it's an instrument
I was about to say,
that it makes me care about what it is that I'm doing. And
right?
back to the journaling, it's just like um, a lot of times I'll have a client and I'll tell them, "Did you write your thoughts down for the week?" No. Okay, so why do you think you're dumb? And I say it jokingly, but I'm just like, seriously, write down what's bothering you, and write down the solution or how you conquered it. Because in my own life, I found that even, especially dealing with anxiety, a lot of the times, it is very healing to be able to go back and see where I've made it, past a
Right.
thing. And it inspires me all over again to say, okay, this day was really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
But look at the next day. Look
Right.
at the next day how I recovered. Look at
Right.
that. So right now, this moment and what I'm feeling, I'm going to recover for it. So my question is, how important do you think journaling is, and why do we need to do it?
So I think when we journal, I've heard this before, we're opening up a different area of our mind, and
Mm-hmm.
we kind of open this conversation up, and we see the thoughts that are going on inside our head different. Like
Okay.
I know in my journaling, when I'm, I've had the same exact experience. Sometimes I go back now because I've been doing it for so long. I'll look back at a decade ago, and I'll go, "Oh my
Mm.
God, I remember when I was in this state."
Yeah.
And what's funny is at the end of all of my journaling too, so if there's a day, February 8th, 2012 or whatever, and if I was having a crappy time, by the end of it, I'm like writing affirmations of power and how like I'm
Yes.
gonna get through this and how like it's
Mm-hmm.
fine and how this was meant to be and everything happens for a reason and all these little things. So it's almost like a practice in mindfulness. We're
Yeah.
recognizing what's happening. So because mindfulness isn't about just being happy. Mindfulness is recognizing what's going on inside of us, how
Mm-hmm.
we feel, and then putting that down and giving us some type of space to kind of go,
Hmm.
okay, what does this mean? Do I want to feel this way? Because what I often realize in the my journal entries where I have had negativity, I don't want to feel that way. So that's why I
No.
think at the end
No.
of it, it's always affirmations power, and it's always kind of like me laughing at myself. Like I'll laugh at myself, like I'll literally LOL in these journal entries,
Dude.
and I'm like, it's not such a big deal. Like everything's gonna be okay. And then I move differently throughout my day too. Like after I write it down, and partly too, even 10 years ago, I always thought to myself, this might be weird, but prior to the podcasting, I always thought, my child one day might pick these up and be able to look through these and kind of go, wow, dad was going through it, but oh wow, look, this is like the way he's always talking with me now. And
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times too, I've forgotten some of those days, and I'll look back in the journal, and it's
Yeah.
like just like you said, it's amazing to look back at it and go, "Wow, that's where I was picking up this mind state."
Yeah.
This is like this to me is just every day. I think like this now, but wow,
Right.
13 years ago, I wasn't thinking like that. So
And look
it's
how you got
very,
over. Look how you
very.
made it over the mountain.
Oh, I'm glad that you're recommending it to your clients.
Yeah.
Everybody here listening, like, just start with whatever. It doesn't have
Whatever.
to be with whatever you want to write.
However you feel.
It's
You
free
know.
too. You don't have to think about, like, for instance, I know my wife, she doesn't want anybody to ever read what she writes.
Right.
And so that's fine,
And it's
and
her own personal decision and
exactly.
thoughts.
Exactly. And then that way too, for her, when she writes it down, it doesn't matter the grammar. It doesn't matter. It
No.
doesn't have to be clean or anything like this. But yeah,
But she's
writing,
getting it out.
yes, yes. And that's the
That's the thing.
important
She's
thing.
getting it out,
Yes,
And
yes.
I think also another bonus to journaling is, and let's face it, I spoke about it a week ago in my podcast, The Parent Trap, about growing up and growing away from your parents. your kids are not always going to be in a position where they're going to listen to you. So I
Mm,
think that if you're able, or if you're having a disagreement about some things, because kids, they always feel like they're smarter than the parent. Let's just be honest about it. And in some cases they are. They have more knowledge. But we
right,
have maneuvered and laid the groundwork. But how cool is it to, like you said, be able to give your son, hey, read this.
right,
Just read this. We don't have to argue, but read it.
right,
And then, like you said, it can give them the opportunity to be like, "Oh, my dad does know about this.
right.
Look at where he was and
Yes.
the sacrifices he's made." So, yeah, journaling is so freaking important, dude.
Yeah. 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 And with what you're saying about the pencil, I get it, because it's funny when I first started journaling, I would use like just whatever pen, just in like the notebooks that I had for school. But then
Mm-hmm.
over the years, like, my wife kind of introduced me to this, but like I don't know if I want to say the ambiance or what you would say about it, but like having a nice journal, using a
Yeah.
nice pen makes like a total
We use
difference.
any words we want to, Matt. It is the ambiance of
you
the
know,
writing journal.
like it
Yeah.
does make a difference.
I have different kind too. They're like my little babies. It's like I have my legal pads. Then I have when I'm feeling really great and sexy about my life. Then I pull out the moleskins.
Right. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, yeah, I need to write in a leather bound journal today
Right,
because I'm
right.
feeling rather dapper about
Yeah,
myself.
I'm extinguished today, right?
Pinky is up.
Right.
So
I
yeah, that
get
is
it.
great.
Get
So
it.
man, listen, a lot of I see too. You refer to yourself, which is 100% amazing. Is the half white, half Wong. Tell us about that. Tell us, dude.
Right.
What's going on there?
Well, so my mom is white, my
Yes.
dad is Chinese.
Okay.
So there's that play on like half white, half long. But
Oh.
also, what I think to myself is, you know, you it may seem like listening to my podcast, like, oh wow, like, I know a whole lot. But like, I think a good, you know, if I could say being a philosopher and just being
Yeah.
in the most literal sense of the word, a lover of knowledge, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm half wrong and I'm half what? Half right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm always
Right.
kind of like, it's like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know everything and I look forward to figuring out the things that I don't know. And all the time in life, things are happening where I have to reflect, I have to look at what it is that I've done, and
Right.
then go, you know what? Didn't like the results I had. And I think, for instance, some of these results that we have sometimes literally just our feelings. I
Yeah.
think feelings like anger, impatience, jealousy. I think
Mm-hmm.
these things point to ways in which we're not there yet. And so
Mm-hmm.
whenever these things arise in me, like I try to look back and instead of like I would have done in the past and going, that person made me angry. That person, look what they're doing. Blah, 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 blah. Instead, when you look at yourself and you go, how do I? Well, okay, hold on. I'm in control of these emotions.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do so I don't have those feelings towards these people when they act this way or when I see this? Because that's taking the power back. That's making it so that we can live our life the most stress free. Because chronic stress is a killer, and you don't want to always all the time be in a hating mode of this and that, and so yeah, just trying to be in the moment.
Okay.
Just yeah,
Well, yeah. Well, that I thought it was more to it, like I said, and there was, and I think that that is great. Number one, that you embrace your heritage. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because so often a lot of people feel like they can't.
right,
You know what I'm saying? So number one, that's great that you do that, and plus, I just think it also helps to define who you are and who you will be in life, because you know exactly who you are, and so you don't have to come off in a pretentious manner. So that is great.
Uh, you know,
It's
I know,
hilarious and it's great too.
I know when I thought about it and I started telling people, people really laughed. And,
Oh
I was a
yeah.
class clown in high school. So, like, that part of me has never really left. So I
Yeah.
always liked being a joker, but I've progressed, I've matured so much more in the last 20 years.
Mhm.
And, I always want to make sure that I'm accessible to people. So that's
Okay.
why I think, like, when a lot of people will tell me about my podcast or my Instagram that, I'm really raw and that,
Yeah.
like, I just put things out there and they like
Dude,
that,
yes. I
and,
love that so much. Don't change.
that,
Do
yeah,
not change. Don't go
will not.
commercial.
Right.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Put
Dude,
out
your
what
laugh is
I'm
forever
passionate.
etched into my heart. Like when you crack it out, those little moments where I know
Right.
I'm like, he really cracked himself up right there.
Yeah,
And I
for sure I
know
do.
that it wasn't for any of us. It was for you.
Right. Oh yeah. It's
That is pure gold.
you get me. You're making me smile, Corey.
That is 100% pure gold. And I know I feel it. I'm like, oh my God, that was for him.
It was, yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
I'm so glad
So,
you're with it though.
oh, I am. I'm right there with you, dude.
I'm
Seriously.
glad. I'm glad, brother.
Dude, so I just like I have to keep saying I've been hooked on your podcast. Just the topics that you chose and are continuously choosing are just fascinating, and they're just eye-opening. Another one that stood out to me was when you were speaking about the spontaneous healing.
Mm.
Um so I have to ask you, why I have you here, do you believe that we can heal ourselves?
Oh yeah,
And how?
100%. Getting out of our way. So it's not as easy as just kind of sitting there and not doing the things that are right that we
Mm-hmm.
know the body needs to heal.
Right.
But it's about getting out of the way and allowing the body to do what it's done over millennia. And we're in a weird time now where we have access to food from all over the globe.
Mm-hmm.
We know, what certain foods will do for us. We also know, and even if you don't know, I just mean, like, the knowledge is out. You may not know individually, like, because I have clients and friends and family even, and, like, not everybody, people's idea of what healthy is all over the,
It's totally different. It's
because,
just like the language. Words mean something different everywhere.
you know,
Yeah.
and so many people though they have it, they're stuck in the fads, what people say, what the media says is healthy.
Yeah.
And those kind of things, I've ended up seeing and looking through and finding out that that's not healthy at all.
Dude, I
Yeah,
used to be like that. Like if I saw let's say Tom Cruise with a particular water bottle, I was like, I have to
right,
order that water bottle because it's gonna
yeah,
make me
right,
I'll be able to scale mountains. I'm like, I could barely ride my bike.
right, right,
But it's just like we are conditioned to want to latch on to those fads.
right. And I've done a lot of research into figuring out, like you see, like all the things I put about diet and I put about food, and even before I put it out, I kind of know, but I'll always, like, check even too. Like,
Yeah.
so all the stuff with the podcast, I'll check first and make sure. If I don't know something, I'll usually tell you straight up, like,
Yeah.
I'm not positive, but I
Yeah.
think this is
I
what's
love
happening.
that
Like,
about you. Yeah.
speculating. You know what
You're
I mean?
telling
Like,
us.
I'm
Yeah.
straight speculating here, but I think
Straight
this is
up.
what's going on. But the
Hmm.
spontaneous healing, I actually heard a talk from Deepak Chopra, and he was
Love him.
talking about, so he was
Love
talking
him.
about this topic, and it made me. And then I was also thinking about, I don't know if you know Andrew Weil. I was thinking of
Yes.
him also, and things
Yes.
that I've read from him. So I was like, okay. And then I have that one podcast on "Do you want to live forever young?" That was from this guy Mario Martinez. So I was kind of thinking of all these different various speakers and the research they've done, and also thinking of like stories we've heard of people maybe from the past who have done like insane, crazy things that we think are not possible. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
sitting down for like weeks on end, or like not eating food, or like not even having the type of resources that we have, living very healthy and very strong. People possibly levitating and these kind of things.
I know.
Like
I know.
things like magic maybe. So it kind of made me, you know, and even right now, another thing too I've been thinking about a lot lately is there's this guy, he talks about our gut microbiome and how in the past, like 100 years ago, we used to have species of bacteria that have literally gone extinct now in people. And it made me think like, because they're finding out that in the gut microbiome, all of these bacteria have, depending on like what bacteria you have in your gut, you may like, it may make you obese. It may make you have Alzheimer's. It may make you autistic. You may have schizophrenia. You may like,
Whoa.
right? Like
Whoa.
anything and everything. Like,
Anything in the gut.
anything and everything. Like if you go Google gut dysbiosis and an
Okay.
ailment,
I'm
I
writing it down.
guarantee, I guarantee you're gonna find out like, and this is all new research they found over the last like 2 decades.
Okay.
And so it made me think, man, is it possible that there were like species of bacteria that some people had in their guts long, long ago that allowed us to do things that we no longer have capabilities for? Or, what I thought too, for, I don't know if you know, if people don't learn language by a certain year, you literally you don't learn language. Like we need to learn it by a
You gotta
certain
learn
year,
it.
or we
Yeah.
don't, or our brain cleaves off those areas of like either white or gray
It's like you
matter.
didn't. It's like you didn't fulfill what you needed to do.
So
So to
this
get rid
also
of it.
made me think of things like telekinesis, levitation, all these kind of weird things, like where we go, there's no way people could have done, like
And
how,
I don't think they're weird. I think they're real.
you know.
You just
So
can't do it, so you don't understand it. So it's weird.
right, you know what I mean? Like, and that's usually, I used to think growing up that everybody, as a human being, everybody thought and perceived the world like me. And it was in my 20s where I kind of like, let go of that idea and realized like there's people that see the shit way differently than I see it.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and like, that we're not all having the same exact experience.
No.
And
No.
so I
And
don't know.
and it's amazing too how when you talk about certain things and certain time periods, people remember things totally different than you. It's like
Right.
that wasn't their perspective on how that happened. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? So it's just like we all are taking in information our own way. So yeah, that you said that really does strike a chord, is how we communicate and learn about ourselves and health. Um, and for I just want to say too, like I'm a person that struggles still with anxiety, but I used to really, really struggle with it really badly here.
Mm.
But that's why I was so fascinated by the spontaneous healing, because I have found that using the meditation, journaling, I even have my singing bowls. I love that. And I know these things aren't magic, but I choose to believe in them because they do take me to a higher vibration in life. And for me, it's like I don't care what it does, whatever it's doing that it's adding peace to my
Right.
life. It's like I'm with it. So with you and you speaking about the gut health, um, how important do you think it is for us to, one, look at the gut health, but also to take care of the silent killer, which I call it, which is chronic stress, which that's what my biggest fear was with anxiety. Like, I don't want to keep doing this to my body because it's not healthy.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Uh, so stress. Let's think back, like in our evolution. Like if we went back like millennia ago, let's say we're on the jungle, we're on the savannah,
Mm-hmm.
we're out gathering food, and then all of a sudden there's a lion, there's a
Yeah.
bear, or there's another tribe that's coming after us. Now, right away, our body is going to start shuttling blood from our organs to our limbs. Our eyes are going to change. We're going to get a little sweaty. We're going to start breathing fast. Our heart's going to start pumping. All
It's
for
that
fight
fight
or
or
flight.
flight.
All for fight or flight.
Just
All to
about to
do some
say.
stuff,
Get you out
to
of there.
protect us. And then we would do some stuff to protect us. And then all of that would start to come back down.
To die down.
Today, that fight or flight response is our stress hormone. Cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline. All of these things ramp up when we have that happen. But today, we're in traffic and we're getting elevated. We're at our work computer. There's 170 unread emails. We're getting elevated. We're
Looking
in
at politics.
politics.
Politicians.
There's all these things.
I don't watch the news anymore. If it doesn't come across my phone, like I cannot watch the news. I can't watch it.
If you can't come down, if you don't have a practice like meditation or yoga, and even if you do, it's still frustrating.
It's still there.
It's like, it's a...
And I feel like you don't have to watch the news because everybody's going to tell you about it.
Right.
Especially, like we said, people like to carry bad news.
Yep.
They like to deliver it to you.
Right.
So it's just like, why do I need to watch it? Because you're going to get hit with it so many times throughout the day.
Right.
To the point where you feel like, well, did I see it on TV?
Right.
It's like, no. So we got to get rid of that chronic stress. In my studies about chronic stress, I found, and I'm going to ask you, that it's important for us, and I'm guilty of this. I don't get enough sleep. Like I'm up, Matt. Like seriously, I think last night I went to bed at 5 a.m.
Oh, what?
Yeah, dude. I need to get a handle on that.
Right.
I need to get a handle on it. But it's like I've always been like a night owl. But see, without being up night, then it's just like, oh, I need a snack now.
Right. So what happens is when you start to
tell me something horrible so I can start going to bed.
Okay.
That's basically what I want. I want the shock therapy right now.
Okay. So if you're in bed between 10 and 2, you get double the amount of human growth hormone that your body will produce endogenously. So the human growth hormone is why, like, kids and teenagers, they rebound so quickly because they have so much human growth hormone. Human growth hormone is what Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, all these guys were using. But all these actors are using today. Why Sylvester Stallone looks the way he does, and The Rock, and all these guys are, human growth hormone. Yeah, like this. It also gives them this certain head because everything grows a certain way. And we're not going to get
the microwave.
Yeah, right. Now we're not going to get that just by going to sleep early. But what's going to happen is we're going to repair our bodies. If we get less than 5 hours of sleep. So we have this weird thing with our genes. Certain genes and certain hormones get turned on and other ones get turned off. So the ones that get turned on are ones like ghrelin, which tell us to go search for fatty foods. So if you've ever noticed, like if you got a poor night's sleep, the next day you might be really hungry.
Starving.
You know what I mean? And the reason, and it's not that you haven't eaten. The thing is, your body doesn't know you were staying up having a good time, streaming or partying or doing whatever you're doing.
Snacking.
It doesn't know that. All it thinks is, think about this again. If we think about back in evolution, if for whatever reason we would have gotten less than 5 hours of sleep, it must have been because there was something scary going on. So our body is telling us,
on high alert.
go get these fatty foods because we might need it to stack up on so that we're safe.
Okay.
Another thing that gets turned up, or actually, turned up. So this is weird. We have genes that control tumor growth. So like they actually get turned on. So like your risk for cancer, your risk for tumors is going to be higher. To go in line with that, making you hungry, what gets turned down is, I forget what it's called, but it's the hormone that makes you feel full, that makes you feel satiated. So these things, so here it is, your body's telling you go find fatty foods, and then it's also telling you you're still hungry because that satiety signal is being turned down. So, and then why it is that if you stay up past a certain time, like let's say usually throughout the course of, like maybe before 5 a.m. you felt tired at one point, but you just decided to stay up. And when you decide to stay up, your body's actually going to kick in some adrenaline, and then you're going to be able to stay up for like 2-3 hours like nothing. Like,
I felt that. You know what? So explain this to me because I know you'll know. So, like, if I'm planning to do some work,
right?
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a cup of coffee, but the coffee makes me sleepy, and I'm just like, okay, well, that didn't work. But then I swear to you, just when I'm about to give in to sleep, it's like all of a sudden, like, then I'm like, oh, I'm up, and I can stay up to, I'm gonna stay up to 5 this time.
Right.
It's like, so
it's that adrenaline kicking in. So I don't know why the adrenaline kicks in, but it kicks in, and then so if you, anybody out there, for sure, if you stay up past the point of being tired, your body will kick in and kind of like give you this like rush. But then you're gonna get all these other negative cascades.
You feel horrible.
You know what I mean? And then with the coffee, does coffee work for you at all, though? Like, let's say in the beginning of the day.
You know what? Coffee does work for me, like and it's not that I am dependent upon coffee, that I know of, but I like it in the morning. Like I could have tea too, but coffee just kind of is that, okay, I need to get going with whatever it is I'm doing today. So that's what it is for me. I don't have to go back repeatedly to the pot, or I don't feel like, I can't make it without it. I'm not that person. But I do like to have it. I love to smell it. Like it wakes me up, the smell of it, brewing. But it's just one of those things.
So caffeine,
like I wouldn't be trying to get up to an ice cold glass of water.
Right. That's what I do.
Oh man, of course you do.
Well, here's the thing. I heard all these, like, I didn't know sleep was important until about 5 years ago. I heard a guy, and blew my mind. Like, I heard a sleep researcher and the things he was talking about. Like, if you haven't listened to the On Sleep podcast yet, go check that one out that I have. But because what I try to do with this podcast, as you see, is I try to put out just the things that shocked me. Like the things that, like, I'm like, holy shit! Like,
and if it shocked you, it's definitely gonna shock us.
So
yeah.
When I heard it, I went, oh my god! Here I am. I'm training. I'm trying to fight people. I'm trying to be at the peak of my physical levels. So when I heard about how important sleep was, I had to go, wow. Okay, how am I going to start getting to bed by 9? So that I could get this extra human growth going on. How am I, what do I have to do differently in my life? Because all the screens and overhead lights, all this kind of stuff artificially keeps us up because it's like the sun. And prior to all this shit, like over 100 years ago, we would have just fallen asleep we would have rose with the sun, because when you rise with the sun, cortisol levels are high, which they should be, and then they start to dip later on in the day, and then we should dip with it.
We should go with it.
And so when we have, why I said overhead lights, this is wild, but at noon, the sun's overhead, so we're most alert. So if we have just light in our house overhead,
Mm-hmm.
it's our eyes and our physiology is like silently being told that we should be really alert.
Okay.
So if you can, like, you want lights like desk
Need to get
lights.
those. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want lights like at this level, kind of mimicking like where the sun would be as it's going down the horizon.
Okay.
So there's a lot of
Light energy, huh?
yeah, light is very important. Sleeping pitch black is best if you can. Some type of white noise or something like this might be fine.
Okay.
But what I was going to say about the caffeine, caffeine, alcohol, unfortunately, even marijuana, all these things, especially you might think, well, of course, caffeine, but if you have, let's say, 200 milligrams at like 2 o'clock in the day, at 2 in the morning, you still have 100 milligrams running through your body
Cycling through your body.
because it has a half-life of 12 hours. And the thing is, the problem with that and the problem with alcohol and marijuana is it doesn't then allow you to go through the whole range of sleep cycles. There's 4 stages of sleep. Most people know this who drink or smoke weed. You don't have dreams. You don't remember dreams if I'm out here on the West Coast.
Right. Right.
A lot of us, we smoke weed.
Yeah.
A lot of us, aren't having
What's
dreams.
a lot of us around here that smoke too?
I mean, yeah, I get it. And when I heard all these things, I was like, oh shit. Because all of this is important to our, I've heard it like this. Evolution gets rid of things that aren't good for us.
Okay.
And here, sleep is something where people are doing for 8 hours a day. They're literally unconscious. We're literally in a very vulnerable state, but yet it's been kept around millions of years, and we haven't found a way either to do it less than 7 or 8 hours. Like we need that amount of sleep to rebuild. Because, everything in your body, too, everything in your body is being broken down. And it only gets rebuilt in the nighttime. It only gets rebuilt in sleep. And
so sleep is very, very important, is what we're saying here. You hear that, listener? Go to bed. Listen to Matt's podcast, and then listen to mine, then go straight to bed.
Right.
Then get up in the morning and re-listen to us.
Right. Give us 5
Well, I'm glad you told us that. I knew you would be the right person to ask about that. So look, dude, you're such a passionate, knowledgeable, well-rounded person, but you're also this fierce warrior. And what I mean by that, you're an MMA fighter. You know? How do you find the balance? Like, how do you go from kicking a guy's tail and finishing them just like you're in Mortal Kombat to I'm gonna go pick a cucumber.
Right.
I mean, powerful.
I have the same energy throughout, really.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I just did a jiu-jitsu competition last week, and I was thinking in my head, something like, maybe I could be more aggressive because, like, but I don't know, like, it's not really. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good, because for me, it's all one. Like, the whole reason why I did all of this stuff with health is to make myself a better fighter. So, all the things that I found out about stress, about sleep, about spontaneous healing, about yoga, about greens, about anything, all of this
to reinforce the discipline.
To reinforce that, to make myself better there so that I could do it longer and stay healthy. So like, yeah, it's philosophy too. I mean, stoicism, reading Buddhism, all of this stuff, to me, makes me stronger. To me, it's not about being out there and hating the other guy. It's not about coming, it's funny. I had fights with people, and they're so aggressive. People come out, they're so
They're
angry.
like
They're
pit bulls.
here, they're looking at me.
Like the
We
Logan
get in,
Pauls, right?
oh
I'm
man,
gonna
it's funny
kick
though. We
you.
get
And
in
then when
there.
they lose, I'm just like,
It's funny. We get in there. That things start happening, and then that demeanor changes real quick. Where to me, I don't do it out of fear. I like it. Like, and I know that's weird, but like, fighting has been something my whole life I've always been drawn to. Like, I can think back to when I was 5 years old and my friend was in karate. And like, I still remember the smell the first time I came into that karate dojo, watching him. I remember his dad teaching me that like this is not how you. I thought that you made a fist with your thumb inside because I thought you're gonna hit him with that. And I remember him telling me you make it like this, and that was, all the fighting stuff growing up,
just
Rocky,
gave it to you.
Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, all this stuff really appealed to me.
Okay.
So, but over the years, why I haven't been where I probably should have been with my fighting is because mentally I've had to develop a stronger mind. Like
You were fighting your mental battle too, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
we all are fighting. We got to get that
You know,
together first.
so like, and now here it is. I have all this together, but
Yes.
people sometimes can't get past now seeing me as like here's I train with all these guys in their 20s, and they often think I'm in my 20s.
Of
They
course.
look at me and they think,
Of course.
they think I'm in my maybe 29, and I'm 39, and like,
They'll
so,
never believe it. They'll never believe it.
yeah.
No.
People look at me and they're always like, "What? No way!" Or "How long you been doing this?" Or "You're this old?" Or whatever. But then also when people hear that, the ageism kicks in. They start to think like, "Well, you can't do these kind of things anymore." They don't say that outright, but I know
But you
people.
can see them thinking it.
Oh yeah,
You can feel it.
You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, you can feel it.
you
You really, really can feel it. Dude, that's awesome though. Yeah, much success in that fighting. Like I said, I see you like I said, whooping tail and coming back and manning the farm. I'm just like, it's
Right.
beautiful to watch because like
Thank
I
you.
said, you have a balance there that is, I believe, so genuine that, like you said, you're the same fighting as you are just being who you are at
Right.
home, and that's powerful to always want to be yourself, and it's powerful to be transparent in everything that you do. So,
I think we should probably be finishing up, but what I'll say
yeah,
one more thing to that too is, and it's for me, it's in win or loss. Because you've heard me. I call you brother.
yeah.
I call the women I come across sister. I call everybody brother and sister. I believe we're all part of the human family. And so even though I like, I really want to be able to like put my shin to somebody's head, like, and kick somebody in the face. Even though I want to do that stuff, I still love these people, and I don't look at them like with any type of animosity.
No.
I realize that, look, we're both training for this same goal, and they're going to try to do the same thing.
Right.
And this is something that we're, to me, I don't need to bring hatred into it.
No.
And either
that's not what it's about. That's not
it's
what it's
win
about.
or loss on this way. Last week, just doing this competition, it was funny just how defeated these guys when I defeated them, how they got, And when I did lose one match in the division, but even when I lost, I mean, I came to the guy and I was like, hey, like I congratulated him.
Yeah, and that's how you should be.
I still built him up, telling him how good he was and how I feel doing this and that, like here, and like I'm like it's I just don't.
All in good sport. That's the thing, because it's been the same with me in the past. Being a musician, as you know, there's a lot of competition. But I've never been the type of individual, and I'm so grateful. And I always say I've never been the type of individual that has been envious or jealous or, like you said, practice hatred towards anyone. So, hey, if you sell 1 million records, I'm right there with you, happy for you. But there are a
Right.
lot of people that are just like, they don't want to see you grow. They don't
Right.
want you to outdo them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, what you're saying is true. It's like, you're here because we're doing a sport here. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want people to hear this and say, well, you're supposed to beat people. But yeah. But the thing is, I think the way that you look at this is because you have already won within yourself. So you're getting out there, and may the best man win. That's
Right.
the attitude, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we should be in everything that we
Good way
do.
to put it. Right.
So, you give them a knee to the face and then you give them a salad. I mean, it's
Right.
not a bad deal.
So that they heal. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
so they can heal.
Right.
Dude,
Right.
listen, I have to ask you this because we gotta wrap up. But
All good.
one thing that I want to ask you, and I want to know, and I'm sure our listeners want to know, for Matt Wong today, what has inspired you? Or what is inspiring you?
Well, at this point, my son, my son, my family, but also to just see a better world. Like, you know what I often tell people, I thought about this at one point, putting out the videos on Instagram, doing the podcast, it all takes time,
Mm-hmm.
and what I've thought though to myself is, look, if one or two people even get something out of it, I have no idea who it is that those one or two people, by living their life a little better, who they might influence to live a little better. You
Mm-hmm.
never know. Like, I used to even think about this prior to having social media. Like, why be good to people outside of the house or outside of here? Why try to smile with people? Why wave at people? These kind of things. And it's like, well, you never know what the downward effects might.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they might end up being the sibling of my wife's boss, and maybe by not that they're going to remember me in any way, but just remembering that little bit of something that made them feel a little better. Maybe that helps her boss feel a little better, who then comes in, who makes the work environment a little better. Like, you just never know.
Because
You
we're
know,
all connected. We're all connected.
and that's really, I just want a better world. Like, you brought up politics, and, there's so much complaining, there's so much hating, there's so much hate out there. Like, and really, I hate the hate. Like, and
Yeah,
like,
you gotta hate the hate. It's
and
uncomfortable.
I just want to put little drops in to make it easier for us all to live. Especially too, as I get now into my 40s, like, and seeing a lot of my friends, and I don't want us to feel middle aged. Like, I don't want us to feel like,
Yeah.
I have so many people, even at 30, people are starting to tell me, oh, I feel old, this, that, and whatever. And I'm hoping that, like, with the stuff that I do on social media,
Yeah.
that people will listen, and people will just make little steps, like just little steps over time. Because you're not going to change everything in your life
No.
this weekend. It's
No.
not going
And
to
there's no deadline.
happen.
There's no
You know what I
deadline.
mean?
There's
And
no
like,
deadline.
that's the beauty of life too. Like, is that we just keep going, we just keep learning, we keep progressing, we keep falling, and we keep
Yes.
picking ourselves back up to be
And we
better.
live with intent.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Matt, I have immensely enjoyed you today, brother. Listen here. Where people that want to know more and see more of Matt Wong, what are your handles on social media? Where can they find you on Instagram?
Matt, half white, half Wong,
He's half
on
white, half Wong,
Instagram.
guys.
I have some YouTube videos too, and I've uploaded some of the reels that I do on Instagram onto as shorts. Same
Okay.
thing, at half white, half Wong, and then the podcast, the Water podcast.
Yes, guys. Make
Just
sure
one
you
more
listen to the Water podcast. And we're going
check
to
it
add
out.
some notes too in this episode so people will be able to find you.
I appreciate you, brother.
My brother, thank you. I love you. Love your
This
family. Say hi to all the
was great.
beautiful people there.
Definitely.
And thanks for giving me this time.
Hey, thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Had a great
Thank you
time.
so much.
Yeah.
God bless.